Welcome to the Frontline Herbalism Podcast with your host Nicole Rose from the Solidarity Apothecary. This is your place for all things plants and liberation. Let's get started. Hello friends, welcome back to the Frontline Herbalism Podcast. I'm really sorry for my absence. After the last podcast I released, I actually ended up in hospital for 2 days after kind of such horrendous vomiting and nausea with my pregnancy. But we're all okay. Me and my partner are okay. The baby's okay. It's just been a really tough time with the vomiting, but I gave myself a week off, which was great. And I'm sure everyone has seen the news about what's happening in Gaza and Palestine. Been doing my best to share what is happening on Instagram and amplifying Palestinian voices and people living in Gaza. So please follow my stories and kind of follow the different resources and people who are sharing what they're experiencing right now. And I hope people are organising and resisting. I know there's been really inspiring demonstrations all over the world with tens of thousands of people. People are taking direct action against Elbit Systems and other companies that are in this military industrial complex sustaining Israeli power. I know people are also kind of trying to pressure their states and different people who are sending arms and military resources to Israel, including the US and the UK. And then I know people are just trying to amplify what's happening, trying to counter the Israeli propaganda, trying to share the context of what is really happening in Palestine and what has been happening for 75 years. I wanted to read something that I wrote on Instagram. So I actually shared a photo of one of the kind of things I saw in Palestine. So I was there in December last year, spent 3 weeks in the West Bank visiting different people and making the International Solidarity Movement podcast. So did 14 different interviews with 2 comrades, trying to kind of give an overview impression of different forms of popular resistance in Palestine and share different people's experiences. So the photo I shared is actually a tear gas grenade next to a plantain plant. And for the herbalists listening, they'll know that plantain is actually very soothing to the mucous membranes and very healing for wounds. So I kind of felt like it was, interesting that they were close together. I took the picture while outside a prison waiting for someone to be released. And it kind of, summarized my time in the West Bank. So I wrote, "It's a symbol of the violence of the occupation. Every person I spoke to had stories of theirs or their loved ones' arrests, detention, imprisonment, torture, house raids, home demolitions, attacks by settlers, broken bones, family members killed by snipers and soldiers, brutality and intimidation at constant checkpoints, and so much more. And this was only in the West Bank. It was not possible to visit Gaza, which is effectively the world's biggest open-air prison. It was not just suffering. There was and is fierce resistance to the oppression. Vast forms of popular resistance from demonstrations, strikes, pressure campaigns, prisoner solidarity, demolitions resistance, writings, murals, boycotts, all forms of resistance you can imagine, including armed resistance and self-defense in many forms over many decades of struggle. The context of what is happening right now and why cannot be erased. Solidarity with the people of Palestine fighting for freedom, solidarity with the anti-Zionist Jews resisting the far-right Israeli state and Zionist ideologies wherever they find them. Palestine must be free from the river to the sea." And then I shared a couple of different resources. So you can see these on the post. I'll put them in the show notes, but I shared a few different news websites. Also a massive collection of resources and different kind of Palestinian advocacy organizations, including the International Solidarity Movement and various other groups. So I will put those in the show notes so people can check them out. And in terms of this episode today, I wanted to share one of the interviews that we published on the International Solidarity Movement podcast. So this is an interview with Dr. Ghassan Hamdan of the Palestinian Medical Relief Society, PMRS, which is a grassroots NGO that's provided a much needed medical response to the crisis caused by the occupation. So PMRS's workers, like other Palestinian medical workers, are constantly targeted by the occupation forces. We've seen this recently with medical workers in Gaza who are getting bombed and targeted, and on top of providing medical care, they've also trained thousands of people people to build resilience to the occupation's attacks. So I think when we're talking, I think they've trained maybe over 150,000 people in kind of stop the bleed training, basic first aid, how to respond to people who've been shot, which can, massively save lives. And like this interview was obviously recorded in December last year, and, it doesn't speak to what is happening now and this kind of horrific wave of bombings and like literal murder of hundreds of children and thousands of people, including the attempts to, cut people's water and starve them, which is what we're seeing right now. But it does talk about how there is this desire to build medical infrastructure, to respond to people with chronic illnesses, to prevent disease. We have a really beautiful little chat at the end about plant medicines in Palestine. I think, that's kind of why I like this interview, because it shows like it's not just about this constant resistance to occupation. It is also about like building collective life and collective healthcare. And, we talk about trauma and how it affects people. And I think the interview is really inspiring. It was definitely one of the kind of like ones closest to my heart during the stay in Palestine. Most particularly because after the interview, the doctor was showing us photos of, people he'd saved, of when he'd got shot himself. And how much medical workers are targeted. So anyway, I'm going to put a link in the show notes. I'm really encouraging people to donate to them. I know there's tons of places you can donate, and I think they're all important. So just send it where you can. But I've included a link to the Palestine Medical Relief Society just because of this relationship with them. And I would just really encourage you to be generous and support their work. And please share this podcast. And again, check out the show notes for different links and resources. And I hope you are just getting active in any way you can to resist what is happening now. Okay, take care. Hello. Thank you so much for making time for us today. Please, can you introduce yourself and the work?
Welcome. I'm happy to meet you and to have you here in Nablus first. My name is Ghassan Hamdan. I'm a doctor and I'm the director of Medical Relief Society in Nablus region. Medical Relief Society, it's one of the biggest non-governmental organization in West Bank and Gaza Strip. And it was established in 1979 by different medical personnel, doctors, nurses, social workers, lab technicians. And the association began as a doctor who was interested to provide medical services for the people in the rural and difficult areas, the area where we didn't have medical services for the people. And in that time, all the countries was full under Israeli occupation, and also the medical services also was controlled by soldiers, where they are not interested to provide medical services for the people, especially in rural and remote areas, thinking by that they can make pressure on the people to immigrate from their houses, their villages, their places, and by that they can implement the policy of transfer policy, where they are trying to push the people by themselves to go out from their country, to go out from other countries where they can find better situations, especially for their children, for their families, in the medical things. The doctors who think to establish medical organization, medical services, it's kind of building health infrastructure for Palestinians, where we can make services for the people and related to their needs in health condition. After that, of course, medical relief was growing and work in different areas, different regions in West Bank and Gaza Strip. And now we run as a medical relief more than 43 medical primary healthcare centers, big primary healthcare centers, and we provide more than 14 programs like women health program, school health program, first aid program, emergency program, chronic diseases program, different programs which related to the needs of the people in the Palestinian community. Of course, during our work, what I want to explain that health is affected by occupation. Health is affected by politics and the condition which caused by Israeli occupation. So this is about medical relief, and we're still working as health provider, but we based our work on primary health care.
Amazing. And you said about health being affected by the occupation. How do you see this in your work?
So what I want to explain by this, that we can't here implement our strategy in healthcare. Why? Because under occupation, there is no sustainability. So if you want to implement your strategy on healthcare, you need sustainability. You need to have all conditions which you can implement your strategy. For example, if you want to improve the health condition for the people in chronic diseases, which is very difficult in Palestine. It's the highest percentage in the Middle East because of the stress, the political situation, economic situation, social situation. So we face many people who are suffering of hypertension, heart diseases, heart attacks, and diabetes mellitus. All these diseases is affected by your style of life and your condition, especially economically and politically, socially. We can't take care of these people while we have emergency situation. Explaining that, for example, 1 month ago, Nablus area, or 1.5 months ago, Nablus area was completely under siege. So during the siege, Israelis closed all exits to the city, totally. So the people, they can't go out and they can't come into the city. And the main medical and health services here, especially hospitals, it's on the city only. We don't have in the rural and remote areas hospitals, full good and full primary healthcare centers where you can get and got all medical services. So other things that the medical personnel, doctors, nurses, lab technicians, different people are going out from the city to the rural areas, or sometimes coming from the rural areas to the city. It's not everyone working in the city and not everyone working in the village. So this restricted the movement of the medical team and medical people. And we faced that. We couldn't, for example, many doctors, they couldn't go to their primary healthcare centers where they are working because of the closure, because of the checkpoints, because of the soldiers, where they prevent the people to go out from the city to the villages and from the villages to the city. Other things, the people who need to be hospitalized, they can't come to the hospitals. And we face some conditions like some pregnant ladies from Bet Forik town. It's near Nablus, not far from here, just 7-8 kilometers. Normally, it takes the way from Bet Forik to Nablus, normally, it takes 10 minutes. But when we had the closure, the way takes 6-7 hours because of the checkpoints. And this lady, she gave birth at the checkpoint where she prevent to cross the checkpoints because of the closure and because of the soldiers. Like this case, we have it all the time. So you can see that we can't improve our health situation and our health system when we have emergency, because everything is going to the emergency. During that, we have, for example, clashes with the soldiers at the checkpoints, at the roads, not only with the soldiers, with the settlers also who are attacking the people, especially in Nablus area. Many places were attacked by settlers, stores, cars, people, and they, if you heard about the two guys which was killed just 3-4 days ago near Nablus by car. It was accident by car. The settler, he go to there where they stopped their cars in the way of the road, and he attacked them by his car and he killed 2 people. So like these cases also we have all the time. So our work is going on emergency as a doctors and as a health workers. We don't take care of other things where we have to care for them, for example, to children, women, chronic disease people. We have a big problem with the kidney dialysis people. For example, in Nablus city area, we have more than 470 people who needs dialysis every day. And these people are not 190 people living outside of the city. So they need to come to the hospital because we have only one center to make dialysis. When we had the checkpoint and closure, they can't come. So this cause different kind of complications, and they face a very hard health condition. So like that, this is what I mean, that we can't have sustainability on healthcare, and we can't improve our healthcare system. For that, what we are trying to do is to create different activities related to this condition, to condition of closure, condition of the political situation, which is very hard and very difficult.
And in terms of resources going to the emergency situation, I read on your website, and I know, websites can sometimes be a bit out of date and things, but that you trained 180,000 people in first aid skills. Can you say a bit about why this was necessary and how you made it happen?
So I remember in 1996, when we had attacks on the mosque in Al-Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem by Sharon, if you remember him, or if you, he's the Prime Minister of Israel. He died now. He go there to the mosque, and this is sensitive issue. It's very sensitive issue for the Muslims, for the people, the Palestinian people. So he went there with settlers, hundreds of settlers, and there was a kind of intifada. People, they refused these things, and we had a lot of, and it's not happening only in Jerusalem, but it happens also in everywhere, in all regions, also in Nablus area. We had hundreds of injured people. These injured people, they didn't find good help from the local medical people, because we don't have enough resources for that. We don't have enough medical people. We don't have ambulances enough. So there was a lot of complications. And the handicaps people increased from 2% among the community for 5%, because the people who related to these injured people was doing bad things for them. When they evacuated them, they evacuated them from the field in wrong way, and this caused different complications. So we think that we should have people who are trained on first aid, especially young girls and boys. And we create this program in Nablus area. We began this in Nablus area, where we began training different groups of young people, boys and girls, from the schools, from the youth centers, working with different associations. We train hundreds of people in that time on first aid. So we prepare ourselves, and we increase this our way, where we expand this work everywhere in the West Bank and Gaza Strip, not only in Nablus area. But the work began in Nablus, here in this place. So in 2000, when we have the second intifada, we had thousands of people who are trained on first aid, young boys and girls. When the intifada began, they were working with us as volunteers in the field. So with these volunteers, we could do quality health work dealing with the injured people in the field. By that, this way we help ourselves first as a medical relief and medical people, and we help the peoples who are facing the soldiers, the attacks from the settlers, where the young people who were injured was evacuated from the field in good way, in the right way, without complications, and by that we believe that only with volunteers we can do a good work. So for that we have thousands of people who are trained now, and we continue this work until this moment, of course, and we'll continue it in the future, not only because we are under occupation, but because we think that this is important for how we can educate the community, and we can have a good community which is educated in also first aid and health things. In 2000 and 2008, especially Nablus area, if you heard, it was full under siege, and the political condition was very difficult and hard. When in 2002, Israelis decide to reoccupy the cities, Oslo Agreement make A, B, C, and the A is under control of Palestinians. B also makes C is full under Israeli control. But in 2002, everywhere is under Israeli control. So that time, for example, in Nablus area, Nablus city was divided for 8 parts by tanks. They use the Merkava tanks, which is very huge and very powerful, and they separate this part and the other part inside the city of Nablus, and they make trenches and road blockade by beton stones. So how we could help the people? The people, they need food, they need water, they need medicine, the children need milk. Sometimes electricity was cut because they destroy the infrastructure everywhere. So we have shortage of water, we have shortage of electricity, everything. So by these volunteers who are working with us, and we had in that time in Nablus area, I remember in Nablus city, more than 600 volunteers who with uniform, with vest, and they are young people, and they have good energy. We divide them in the city, and we receive calls. This family needs milk for their children. This family, they need medicine for chronic disease people. That family, they need water, drinking water. So we had centers, and where we can distribute all these things by using these volunteers. They go there, they face the very difficult condition. Some of them, they was arrested. Many of them, they was beaten by soldiers. Some of them, they prevent to cross from this part to another part by, of course, the soldiers. So with this difficult time, but we could, because we have the energy, we need this work to do it. By that, so we could help many people. We could help the families who are under occupation, and in that time, I want to tell you that the buildings which was occupied by soldiers also. So it's not only in the street, they are inside the buildings. In big buildings, they put all these people's family in one flat, and the soldiers, they occupied the other roofs and flats. So this is, when I talk about it, it's easy to talk about it now. But in that time, when you do the work, it was very hard and difficult, under very, very high risk. But we got it, and we do a very good work, and this is give us an experience how to deal with the emergency situation and the difficult situation. So by training the medical people and the first aid people, we have big army by volunteers who are helping us in the difficult time, and we are prepared to do this by our own resources. We don't have enough money, of course, but we have army of volunteers who first aid people who are helping us with doing our services.
Amazing. like, how do you think you are different from, I'm sure you work with all different groups, but how do you think you are different to other like NGOs, you know, maybe other international ones like Red Cross or something like this? Like, do you have a different approach?
Yes, medical relief is created model and design by in this work. So we create the model of primary, for example, first aid program, which I talk about it. We create the mobile clinic. The mobile clinic in the time of closure is going to the people to provide medical services. We are not waiting the people to come to the primary healthcare centers. We go there because sometimes the Israelis are imposing curfews on the people. So the people, they can't go out from their houses. They can't go out from their towns or villages. So we go there with the mobile clinic. Mobile clinic, we have physician, we have lab technician, we have woman health doctor, and nurses and pharmacy, portable pharmacy, medicines. We go there by our cars, and we declare about it by the mosque. We declare about the medical day, and the people can come to small building or municipalities or local communities where we have contacts with them, and we take these buildings and we provide medical services for the people. So we create some models which will be related to our situation and condition. The other, some other medical associations, they got these models and they do it, which is very important for us because we can't cover everywhere. So we need to be cooperated with other organizations and communities. Red Cross and Red Crescent, we have a problem with them because they are following some kind of international law. For example, when you have clashes, risk place, risk area, it's not allowed to you to go there. So you have to wait where the condition will be good, and you can go there to take and to evacuate the people from there. This is not related to our condition, because we have clashes, we have emergency, and we have risky areas. The people, they need your help. So we go there in risky area, and we got this risk, and we do our duty and our work with the people who needs us. So we are not waiting that the Israelis will allow us to go there. Because if we will wait them, and this happened some different time, we can't help the people. And we have many hundreds of young people who was killed and died because Israelis, they didn't allow the medical people and ambulances to evacuate them from the field where they were injured. They wait them until the bleeding is finished and the person was fully died. You can't help them, you can't do anything. And personally, I got many times injury because I go there in that areas. And this is not only myself, also our volunteers, our medical people, the ambulances which we run is doing this duty all the time. We have many people who still working with us, and they got injury during their work, during their duty. And soldiers, they are not following the international conventions. For example, Geneva Convention, which says that if you are medical person, you have uniform and you have the sign, they have to let you pass, and they have to make your work easy to help the people, because you are your work is a humanitarian, it's a medical work. But the Israelis are not following this. They shoot on us, and I can show you pictures where we have medical people who were injured. Our ambulance several times got bullets, live ammunition bullets from the soldiers. They shoot on the ambulance. And we have our ambulance driver, he were injured at Balata refugee camp, Myself, I were injured in the old city of Nablus, in Balata refugee camp, and Beta also town. It's not far from Nablus. The last one was 4 months ago, where I got a rubber bullet. It's a very, very difficult one, 5 or 6 months ago. And I can show you the picture from my mobile where it shows that. So we have many examples on this.
How was it during the pandemic? Like, I know it's still happening, but yeah, how was your experiences here with COVID-19?
COVID. We have a good experience, and we have a good experience with epidemics in general. Because in 2002, I remember 2003, when we had the closure, and the Israelis, they destroyed the infrastructure, especially the the water network, or the pipes. The water, drinking water, clean water, mixed with the sewage water. And we have a big problem in 3 or 4 villages around Nablus, Salem, Azmut, Deir al-Hatab, it's not far from here, where the people, they have hepatitis A. All of them. So we help them by stopping the using the dirty water, which was mixed with sewage water, and we got the clean water for them, and we do our medical services for them, treating these people from the epidemics. Now in COVID epidemics, of course, the resources what we have is very limited. And the vaccine, we got it very too late. Yani, Israel, they got it the first country in the world, Israelis. And when they had pressure from the international community, they decide to give the Palestinian Authority some of this vaccine, and they give them the vaccine which was expired.
Wow.
This was declared in the media and different, so we didn't use it. But when we got the vaccine, before getting the vaccine, all measures to make prevention and to isolate the people who was affected, and we create some hospitals for COVID, which was not created because our hospitals is not prepared for these epidemics. So we have some buildings specially for COVID epidemics, and personnel, we train them on dealing with the people who are affected, and by that we cross this epidemic, and it was, of course, many people was died. We have I don't know the number, but we have more than hundreds of the people who was died because of COVID-19. But we deal it, and we provide health lectures, educations for the schools, for the women in different associations, and in the rural areas, in the city, everywhere. So we do our best to educate the people how to deal with COVID-19.
Amazing. And just a last question, like, yeah, I saw on your website again that you have this like a kind of psychosocial and like counseling program. Obviously, like I've read like some critiques of things like PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, because in a lot of contexts, like there isn't a post, like things haven't finished, people are still living in very like kind of ongoing traumatic situations from state violence and from living under occupation. I just wondered like what your approach is to this kind of like emotional health of the people.
I remember from also 2002 until 2008, what we do according these things. The people in the old city of Nablus, the old city of Nablus totally was under attacks and siege by Israeli soldiers. So all the families who are living there, of course, everywhere, but especially in this area, families, women, children, old people, sick people, young people, all of them were under siege and curfews. They can't go out from houses. They are attacked by bombs. And we have full family which was killed, Shu'bi family, when they bombed the buildings by F-16 plane with rockets, and 8 people or from this children and mother were killed, and we got them from the houses which was destroyed on them. Other things, this situation is cause trauma for the children, especially for the children. So what we do with volunteers again, we go there and we try to get them out from their houses, especially the children in the squares near their buildings, trying to make some games, some painting on their faces for the children, trying to get them out from the trauma. So, and we succeed to do that in different places in the old city of Nablus. Other things we do direct talks with the children face to face, one for one, and we got them out from this kind of trauma. This also this and this experience we got it from also our situation and our condition. So, but we try to do everything which related to the condition again. Training also the volunteers to do that. We have good volunteers who can do good work with the children now. They can play with them, they can make games, they can get them out from the bad situation and bad condition. And by that, we do this work. We try to treat the trauma of the people, do some different activities.
Amazing. In Calais, where I work, it's like the border with France and England, and there's like 2,000 refugees there in camps and like loads of police violence. But there's this organization called Project Play, and like they're always next to our clinic and they're always playing with the kids, and it's like
this is what we can
so
do
nice.
also.
Yeah.
With also we can give them some gifts. We collect gifts from the people here, the local people. They are very helpful. If you ask them for something, they will give you the things, because first they trust us. Second, they know that this is one of their responsibility to help the people. So give you a gifts for the children, and we collect. I remember thousands of gifts for the children in the old city of Naples from the local people.
Is there anything else you'd like to share about your work or that we haven't covered?
I want to tell you, during the normal time, also we are trying to improve our health system. And we do different activities, like, for example, screening for the children, screening for the young and old people, especially people who are suffering from chronic diseases. So we do some analysis, we do activities for them, health education, trying to improve also our health system, where we can help the people who are suffering from diabetes or hypertension to deal with these diseases. And improving that, we have now our primary healthcare design is one of the most successful design in the Middle East. And we got the World Health Organization Award in 2000 for building models, primary healthcare models.
Amazing.
So in normal time, we can do many things. We don't need, we have enough resources, we have good medical people, but we need good condition for that.
And are there any ways that international people or other people can support you? I know you have huge support from like the communities here, but is there anything we can do?
The help from the community is not enough, because the poverty is very high here. So fortunately that the help from international community is going down and less than before. So it's more than 60% from 2000, for example, now. So this caused us a difficult work, and some of our services we lost it. Like, for example, in Nablus area, we don't have the mobile clinic now because we don't have enough resources for the mobile clinic. European communities, they stop supporting some programs, and we stop some of our activities. One of them in Nablus area, the mobile clinic. We have now a big problem with the ambulances. In the law here, you can use the car as an ambulance for 10 years. After 10 years, it's not allowed to you to have it as an ambulance. So we need to renew the ambulance. One of ambulances now was supported by French people, by Toulouse city region. We asked them to renew the ambulance. They said we don't have now fund for that. So we have a big problem with changing the ambulance in Nablus area, which is very high needed for the people. Because our ambulances is working all the time with the clashes areas. Where we have clashes, our ambulances is there. We need to evacuate the injured people. We need to help the people to go out from buildings which was, for example, attacked by soldiers. The families who was under tear gas needs our help. So ambulance is very high needed, and with volunteers who are evacuating the people who were injured in the ambulance to get them to the hospital. So this is one of our problem and big bad things what we have now.
Just as a personal interest question for me, but being here has been really interesting, like seeing the women selling herbs on the street, and obviously everyone puts mint in the tea. I just wondered what your experiences with health are, with people using plants that they grow or from their garden, or does this play a role in preventative medicine or self-care?
Medical tradition is or popular medicine is very good here in Palestine. And the people, the families, they plant these plants in their houses, like mint, meramiya, za'atar, different things, which is very good for health. And they use it. They use it not only in tea, they use it in their food, which is very important and very good. And I think this kind of medicine is growing good in Palestine.
Oh, that's great.
Yes.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for your visit.
Thank you so much for your work. It's so inspiring. Thanks so much for listening to the Frontline Herbalism Podcast. You can find the transcript, the links, all the resources from the show at solidarityApothecary.org/podcast.